Good evening, everyone. You're in the spotlight with Brian Gardner for this Tuesday, October the 2nd, 2018. Good to have you all here for our first of two shows this week. Our big old sports show for the week here on this Tuesday. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got some Ryder Cup stuff to talk about, just some controversy there. We obviously will talk NFL, we'll talk college football, boathead, I won't say big weekends, but interesting weekends in some ways. One I think had an interesting weekend on a positive note, and one had a negative weekend. Um, and then, of course, the main headline will be baseball because it is October and the baseball playoffs are upon us. We had, well, we'll talk more about it later, but MLB had really what they want. They want some drama at the end of the season. Well, you got two tiebreaker games yesterday to set up today's NL wildcard and then tomorrow's AL wildcard. So, you've had baseball, on all week, which you didn't expect. You didn't expect to have baseball yesterday. So it's been kind of nice and it adds some compelling drama. That's what you want. But we'll talk more about that later. We got a lot of baseball to get to. Obviously, NL wildcard game is ongoing right now. It is on ESPN. It is 1-0 Rockies in the top of the eighth. The Cubs had their best chance to get on the board in the last inning. They even got some help from the Rockies. There was a catcher interference deal. There was a lot of things that went on in that inning. I'll talk more about this in a few minutes. I really don't understand what Joe Madden was doing. I know, NL, pitch hitter and everything, and 99% of the time you're going to put a pinch hitter up there that doesn't have a good average and doesn't. You just hope that they can do something. But he has guys like Jason Hayward and Kyle Schwarber on the bench tonight, and I understand the reasoning in not pinch hitting Kyle Schwarber. Well, if it's less than 2 outs, maybe you put Schwarber in there because he can get a fly ball and you can tie the game. Otherwise, a fly ball gets you out of the inning. So, knowing that he's more of a fly ball, home run type threat, you don't bring him out. I get the mentality, but I also look at Jason Hayward. Okay, and I look at Jason Hayward, who has one of I think it's the lowest batting average by any player in Major League postseason history, by any player that's had a minimum of 100 at-bats. He just does not hit in the playoffs. He's struggled, and I would not have sent him up there in that situation. I would not have sent him up there. And I thought it was a mistake when they did it, and they did it. And I just don't understand what was going through his mind there. For all the talk about looking at the numbers and such, anyway, we'll talk more about that later. But like I said, 1-0 Colorado in the top of the eighth in the NL wildcard game. That game on ESPN. We'll let you know throughout the show tonight about that game, give you updates, discuss live, all that kind of stuff. And of course, the AL wildcard game will take place tomorrow from Yankee Stadium, 8:00 p.m. Eastern Time. That game will be on TBS. So we'll preview that game. We'll preview the entire MLB postseason now that it's done, and now that the regular season is done. We'll talk about all that and a lot of other things here. So very full show. But before we get going, as always, I want to remind you all the ways in which you can interact and contribute to our show. Have your voice heard by emailing us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Please remember to use the hashtag itspotlight411 for anything you tweet regarding the show. And on Facebook, to find us, search for us using our show title in the Spotlight 411, and then make sure that you like our fan page so that you can follow us, interact with us, and all that good stuff. I told you what's going to happen tonight, what's going to happen on Thursday. Thursday, we're going to have a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of entertainment, just like we've been doing the last few weeks. So we'll do the box office beat, TV highlights, which again, we'll have a little bit more of a fall TV preview type deal feel to it. We'll do that. And we'll also do some wrestling. We'll preview WWE Super Showdown pay-per-view event on Thursday. We'll have all the matches, have some fun. But it's not that big of a pay-per-view. It's more like kind of like what the WWE show in Saudi Arabia was back in April. It's not that big of a show, but we'll still talk about it. And we'll do all the wrestling stuff as well, and that'll be the show on Thursday. So also we'll be up against the NLDS. So we'll talk about those games as they happen as well. So we'll do a little bit of sports on Thursday too, and that'll be probably what we do over the next few weeks here in October as baseball players be going on up against us. If there's a game on, we'll talk about it and give you updates on it and all that stuff. So. All right, so that's what's coming up this week. Next week will probably be very similar to this week in terms of the way we've been doing, really what we've been doing the last few weeks. Again, we're not starting the new format until probably at the earliest November. So keep that in mind going forward here. And we will have a hiatus, a little bit of a break at the end of the month, starting on October 25th. So I think the last show that we will be doing before that hiatus will be October 23rd. And then we will not be back with you on the air until election night, November 6th. So so just keep those dates in mind. We'll talk more about that as we get closer to it. All right. So with that being said, with that being said, let's get down to business here. Let's do some. We're going to leave the baseball stuff for last, only because that's the stuff that's going to take us the longest. I want to get through the Ryder Cup stuff and the football, because that's this is probably going to be one of those weeks that we don't do a whole lot of NFL, and it's not because it's not because I don't want to. It's because there really wasn't. This was probably the worst NFL week we've had this season. And that says something, because it should be one of the better weeks, because it's week 4, and you figure by week 4, a lot of the rust and a lot of the things that we talk about in the early season, what makes things hard and a struggle, you would think that wouldn't be the case anymore. Well, that's not true. Week 4 was kind of like, hitting rock bottom in a way. So, a lot of these games were not good. A couple of games were good, but a lot of them were not good. Ended up being blowouts, and some of them, those that weren't blowouts, ended up being, maybe badly played games and games that weren't of interest. So, it's not one of those weeks we have a lot of NFL stuff to talk about. We'll talk about it, and that's what we're going to start with anyway. We'll do the Ryder Cup stuff. Wow. Sorry I got silent there, folks. I'm just trying to see what's going on. It looks like trying to see what the play is here. That's an odd double play. Wow, the Rockies. Wow, how often do you see that? So from the looks of it, and you have to keep in mind, I'm looking at this from a bad angle. From the looks of it, it looks like Colorado hit into a double play. Now, the guy at first is not the thing that kind of shocked everybody, but they got the guy at second. So I'm guessing the guy, what was it, second? What was, I'm going to have to look at this, because this is, okay, so the guy was on second, and it's a double play ball, but you wouldn't think of a double play at second base. They got the guy at second base, and then they got the guy at first. So what's unconventional was gets him out of the inning. So what the play was they got the guy at the guy that was going from second to third. They got him out, and then they got the guy at first. That's wow. When's the last time you seen that? Wow, wow. That was big for the Cubs. Big, big. Especially, I think Arenado was going to be up next if that call was, because Colorado challenged it. If that call was overturned, you would have had Arenado coming up with a man in scoring position. That's huge. That's huge. Wow, crazy. All right, let's do some football here. We'll start with the football, and then we'll do the Ryder Cup, and we'll go from there. All right, so it wasn't, like I said before, college football and the NFL both had interesting weekends. One on the positive side, that being college football. One on the negative side. And NFL was on the negative side because, again, as I talked about in the open here, the NFL, it's usually the first 4 weeks, right? And each week that goes by, it's supposed to get better. And then when you get into past week 4, you should be firmly into the season. Everybody should be gelled together. Everybody should be on the same page. You worked out the kinks. Let's be ready to go. Well, if week 4 is any indication, a lot of teams are so far from that. So far from the NFL should be lucky the ratings are going up this year. That proves to you something, that last year's ratings situation had very little to do with the game itself and more to do with other things. Okay, I'm not going to get into that, but anyway, you look around the league in week 4. All right, now there were some games. Now look, offense. We know the offense is going to be there because they're protecting the quarterbacks big time. We talked about the controversy there, everything's being on with the Clay Matthews hit and everything. Well, quarterbacks are being protected heavily. So with that in mind, you're going to see higher scoring games. We know that's a quarterback's league now. All right, but that doesn't mean these games were well played. Just because you see a high scoring game doesn't mean the game was well played. All right, now the Thursday night football game between the Vikings and the Rams was very well played. Very well played. Rams win that game 38-30. That was one of the games I was looking forward to in the early season. That was a good game. Look, the Vikings, you turn the page. I thought the Vikings played very well, much better than they did in the previous 3 weeks combined, I thought. They played very, very good football. Offensively, I thought they did everything they could do. Defensively, yeah, they didn't make the plays late, but all in all, I thought that a lot of the plays that they didn't make were because the Rams are that good. The Rams are really that good, folks, on both sides of the football. They are scary good. And Jared Goff, what McVay has done for him is amazing. He's been great. So the Rams get a huge win at home, and they're 4-0, and the Vikings are 1-2-1. And who would have thought that would be the case here as we go into the second portion of the season? So that was a huge win for the Rams. And on the flip side, since we're talking about the Vikings and how we didn't expect them to be where they are, the Bears. Did anybody expect them to be where they are at 3-1? They weigh a smackdown on the Buccaneers, 48-10. Played good football offensively. Trubisky, who would have thought he could do what he's doing? Throws for a career high 6 touchdown passes, and and their defense went out with Khalil Mack. The Chicago Bears defense is back. They have the best defensive player in the NFL right now. Thank you to the Raiders for being stupid. The Bears, dominant in this game, and the Buccaneers have come back down to earth. They're now down to 2-2, but hey, 2-2, you get out of September 2-2, you're happy. But this played a terrible, terrible game. A terrible game. And, only put 10 points on the board. They end up going to Jameis Winston late. So the Ryan Fitzpatrick grand resurgence tour is now over in Tampa Bay. Which it lasted longer than we all thought, let's be honest here. But, look, the Bears just it was a dominant performance, and the Bears have been one of the early season surprises. So we can't take anything away. And I'm not gonna go crazy about that game because, like I said, another team that gets beat, they get beat. All right, but you look at where the Vikings are and where the Bears are. It's crazy. It is. It's crazy. Now let's talk about another game that was more on the well played side of things. Okay, Bengals and Falcons. Both teams offensively just solid across the board. Defense, but again, enough quality in the game, especially on the offensive end of things, that you don't go, well, you know what, this team's hasn't gotten the ball going yet. You sit there and you say, you know what, they're in the right track. You're getting to the second portion of the season. You feel like the team has come together. It's just about making some plays down the field on defense to shut the other team down. That's really all it's about. Now, Atlanta's right in that same boat that they were in 2 or 3 years ago, where they're losing games by 1 point, 3 points, 5 points, whatever you want to call it. Single-digit losses are piling up for Atlanta. They're 1-3 now, and they're 1-2 at home. And look, you have to defend home field. And Atlanta is a team that we all thought was a playoff-bound team. This team was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. You got to win games at home. You got to. And the Bengals came into their building, and they asserted their dominance on offense, and they come out of it with 37-36 win. The Bengals are clearly on a mission this year. They did not have as good of a year as they usually do regular season-wise. As we know, they're a very good regular season team. It's when the playoffs happen that they struggle. And this year, they're out to prove something. They're back to being 3-1. They're back to being that Cincinnati Bengals team that racks up these wins. And they beat a very good Atlanta team on the road. That's a very good win in what was, for the most part, a well-played game, particularly on offense. Another game that I thought kind of was in that same vein, a well-played game, more or less on offense, but again, you know, you saw enough on defense to think that both teams were in good shape too. Was the Texans and the Colts? The Texans had looked awful in the first 3 weeks of the season. Awful. They looked awful against the Giants the week before, but they come into this game and they became confident. Offensively, they came after they did a very good job. They threw the ball well. They took what the defense gave, and you don't give me the whole the Colts don't have a defense thing, because the previous week they shut down. Who did the Colts play in week 3? I'm trying to think. The Colts played in week 3. The Eagles. They kept the Eagles to 20 points. So the defense has been there. The defense has been there for the Indianapolis Colts. So that wasn't that. No, that's not no slouch, that game. Okay, that's not no slouch. And the Colts came after them on offense, and the Texans just found a way to outscore them. So that was a huge win for the Houston Texans to get them to 1-3. And it's a devastating loss for a Colts team that looked like they were trying to get some momentum. Even though they lost the Eagles, they felt confident that they were playing better football, especially on defense. And they just don't get the job done. And look, it's not because of Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was 464 yards, 4 TDs, 40 for 62. When do you see a quarterback have 62 pass attempts? I mean, you see guys with 50, but 62, good Lord. And the Colts are now 0-2 at home. So again, teams not taking care of home field. Got to do it. Got to do it. But I thought that was a well-played game, particularly on offense. And I thought you saw enough from both defenses where hey, it's like, okay, you think you're in good shape. Same thing with the Raiders and the Browns, a 45-42 win for the Raiders. I like what I saw from both teams. Browns, I thought, looked good, except for the couple of turnovers that Baker Mayfield threw, and he looked great. Raiders looked great this week. Defensively, you could ask for better, but you saw enough to think that they're, okay, it was a well played game. Yeah. And then the two best, the two best played games I thought on both sides of the football, okay, this week were the Ravens and the Steelers on Sunday. It was a 26-14 win for the Ravens, who are quietly put together a nice start to the season at 3-1. And then the Chiefs last night, who improved to 4-0 on the season behind Patrick Mahomes, who is still yet to throw an interception. Only had 1 touchdown on Monday, but he's yet to throw an interception. Patrick Mahomes has led the Chiefs to a 4-0 record. They win 27-23 last night against Denver in Denver. Very well played game. I thought Denver did very good things in that game on the defensive end. They were good. They're 2-2, but I'm very impressed with what I've seen from Denver. I thought they're going to have an awful year. The Chiefs, I thought, were very good. That was a good test for them last night, and it wasn't easy for them last night, and they found a way to get the job done on both sides of the football. Very well played game. Ravens, Steelers, same thing. The Steelers threw everything they could at the Ravens. I thought the Steelers played probably their best all-around game. It just wasn't enough. The Ravens are back on defense. Last couple of years they haven't been as good on defense. They're back on defense, and offensively, they're better than they've been in a while, and they show that. And that was a huge win for them over their rivals in Pittsburgh. Now, those were the games that I thought were well played, either on both sides of the football, or at least enough where maybe more on offense, and then maybe just enough on defense where you like what you saw from both teams. That's everything else. Terrible games. Chargers 49ers, terrible game. Okay, Chargers put up 29 points on the 49ers, win 29-27. Thought that was a badly played game. Very ugly, very sloppy. I thought both teams looked out of sync. I thought that, there were times when they took what the defense gave them. I thought the backup quarterback for San Francisco, CJ, Beathard, I think it is, did okay. But otherwise, I thought the 49ers, particularly on defense, were terrible. Saints and Giants could have been a good game. Saints on offense were okay. I thought really the Giants' own ineptitude on defense gave them half the points that they got. And I thought the Giants were terrible offensively. I mean, the fact they still can't score 30 points in a game or more is kind of ridiculous. They don't give Eli time at all. And even when they do, it's nothing's clicking on offense, and defensively they're just not getting the job done. And I thought the Saints, I didn't think the Saints played that good. That score is deceiving. Offensively they're going to score 30 points in their sleep. All right, so forget about that part. But defensively, even though I know they're not a great defense, it was terrible. Seahawks Cardinals was an ugly game. 2017 win for the Seahawks. Jaguars Jets I thought was an ugly game, but you expect it to be more both teams being more defensive teams than offensive teams. I thought Sam Darnold was okay, not great. The Jets offensively just couldn't get anything going. Todd Bowles I think needs to go. I just think you just need a change. You need another voice in the room. You really do. Something needs to change there. But the Jets I thought were a mess on both sides of football for the most part in that game. I thought the Jaguars started out a little weak, but they got better as the game went on. I like I thought especially their defense got really good in the second half. All in all, though, I thought overall it was a pretty ugly performance by both teams. But hey, Jaguars get the job done, 31-12. Patriots put a beat down on the Dolphins, 38-47. Even that I didn't think was a great game. Just like the Saints, I thought the Patriots, okay, offensively they're going to be able to put up points. So even though they don't have a lot of their offensive weapons, they can still put on points. So I don't look into that, especially at home. Defensively, I didn't think they were. I just thought the Dolphins were terrible. I didn't think the Dolphins did a very good job at all on offense. I thought they made the Patriots look better than they actually were. And I thought the Dolphins' defense laid a collective egg in this game. And that's why the Patriots had a little bit of an easy time. So I didn't think that was a well-played game at all. It was a win the Patriots desperately needed. Dolphins still at 3-1, but the Patriots gets them back to 2-2. Eagles-Titans was an awful game. Eagles we talked about in the preseason. They just haven't looked good. They just haven't. No matter who's quarterback them, they're lucky they're 2-2. Haven't looked good. Defensively, I think they're doing okay, but offensively, it's been a mess. And the Titans are just winning ugly. The Titans are terrible. I like Marcus Mariota, but they're terrible. They're 3-1. At the 1 year, nobody picks them as a sleeper, and all of a sudden, they're finding ways to win games. I mean, look, eventually it's going to catch up to them. The one thing that they're doing that nobody else does is they're defending home field. But, they're winning ugly. And that's, wins are wins, I guess, in the professional football league. So, Packers-Bills was ugly. Again, Aaron Rodgers still didn't look great. 22 for 40, 298 yards, 1 touchdown. Still doesn't look healthy. But the Bills, they took what the Bills gave them. The Bills, after surprising everybody last week against the Vikings, laid an egg on offense. And defensively, they did their best, but they can't hold down a good Green Bay team with Aaron Rodgers essentially on one leg. Again, that was an ugly, ugly game. And the Cowboys-Lions, an ugly, ugly win for the Cowboys over the Lions, 26-24. And really, what was this again? Just about just taking what the defense gave you offensively. That's what the Dallas Cowboys did. Neither team looked particularly great, but Dallas comes away with the win. It was ugly on both sides of the football. So really, a lot of ugliness this weekend. A lot of ugliness, and. Just wait 1 second, folks. I'm going to be right back. I just have to step away real quick. My apologies, folks. I just had to, as I said, I've been watching the NL wildcard game, and I want to use that to keep track of the score, and the TV was off, so I wanted to make sure I get that on so I can let you all know how things are going on as they go. So, all right, so as I was saying, so a lot of ugliness. Now, look, again, there were some well-played games, some more on the offensive end than the defensive end, and then there's some games, a few games, as I mentioned, that were pretty good. on both sides, but for the most part, there was a lot of ugly games, and that's not what you want to see in week 4. It's not what you want to see. Now, how do we do on picks for this week? Let's see here. I'm just going to put my picks here. Let's see here. Where the heck are the NFL picks? Right here. Here you are. Okay, NFL picks for week number 4. All right, so I had the Rams over the Vikings, which was a win. Steelers over Ravens, that was a loss. Giants over Saints, that was a loss. I got to stop buying into the Giants. Falcons over Bengals, that was a loss. Jaguars over Jets, that was a win. Cowboys over Lions, that was a win. So I went 3-3 for the week. So we still went 500. So 3-3, not a great week. And again, it was a rough week for the NFL, I thought. You start off with the high of the Vikings-Rams game, and then at least you ended on a good note with the last 2 primetime games. Both Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football were great. In between, though, it wasn't pretty. It just wasn't. And you hope that changes as you go into week 5. Again, some teams made some statements, punctuated their first half of the quarter of the season with big wins. The Rams, the Bengals, the Bears, the Titans, Jaguars, the Saints, the Ravens, and obviously the Chiefs. And then some teams, had devastating losses. Vikings, Falcons, Eagles, Colts, I thought. Jets, I thought that was a devastating loss for them. Giants, coming off the momentum of the win. So, now you head into the second portion of the schedule, and now it's about putting yourself, let's start to rattle off some wins. Get yourself in a position here for the third part of the season where you can get yourself in a position for a playoff spot. That's what this next one. Now everything's, the rush should be off. You should be in sync with your team, know what you're going to do, and kind of try to put your best foot forward and try to make this season something worthwhile. And that's what these next 4 weeks are about. This next 4 weeks of the schedule are about. So week 5, what does week 5 bring to us? Some interesting games. Again, hopefully better games as a whole. Because there were some good ones, but for the most part, again, not great. Hopefully some better games on tap here for week 5. Here is now we're in October. Let's see here. I'm trying to pull up the week 5 schedule. Best. Like I said, for the NFL, things are going. Even though last week was rough, the ratings are up. Offensive records are going down all over the place. So it's just, again, just in some cases, the quality of play and the game feel and such is not great. But all right, so this week you start off with another great match. Again, the Thursday football game is going to be very good now because Fox paid a lot of money for them. You start off with an 8:20 p.m. Eastern game on Thursday between the 1-3 Colts and the 2-2 Patriots. That, of course, on Fox. So that'll be a big game there. That's a big game for the Colts. And the Patriots win that, they get over 500. And then on Sunday, here are your Sunday games in the 1:00 p.m. Eastern window. On CBS, 3-1 Titans at the 1-3 Bills. Also on CBS, 3-1 Dolphins at the 3-1 Bengals. On CBS, the 3-1 Ravens at the 1-2-1 Browns. 2-1-1 Packers at the 1-3 Lions. I hate the fact I got to say so many ties. 3-1 Jaguars at the 4-0 Chiefs. Good game there. And that one's on CBS. Packer Lion game on Fox. 1:00 p.m. Eastern again here on CBS. Not here on CBS, but on CBS. 2-2 Broncos at the 1-3 Jets. Then you have the 1-3 Falcons at the 1-2-1 Steelers on Fox. And then the 2-1, the 1-3 Giants, pardon me, at the 2-1 Panthers. That one on Fox. That's your 1:00 games on Sunday. Here's your 4:00 window games. 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern on CBS, 1-3 Raiders at the 2-2 Chargers. 4:25 p.m. Eastern on Fox, 1-2-1 Vikings at the 2-2 Eagles. That's a good game too. Obviously, an NFC playoff matchup potential there. 4:25 p.m. Eastern on Fox, 0-4 Cardinals at the 1-3 49ers. 4:25 p.m. Eastern on Fox, 4-0 Rams at the 2-2 Seahawks. And your Sunday night football game, 8:20 p.m. Eastern time on NBC, the 2-2 Cowboys at the 1-3 Texans. And then your Monday night football game, the 2-1 Redskins go to New Orleans to face the 3-1 Saints at 8:15 p.m. Eastern on ESPN this Monday. So a lot of good games this weekend. Tough to just pick a few. A lot of good games this weekend. So let's try to pick a few of them. Again, this weekend could tell you a lot about what teams are going to stay in it here going forward. Because some teams that I don't think this is going to be one of those years that a lot of teams linger. You look at the way the schedule is playing, I don't think that's going to be the case this year. So this weekend could tell us a lot about some of these teams here that we might be still unsure of. So let's take a look at some of these games. I'm obviously going to pick them. I'm going to pick the Thursday night game first. Colts and Patriots. I think the Colts are going to do a very good job in this game. I really think their defense has improved and showed much less. But I think it has improved. I think offensively they can hang with the Patriots. I think this will be a close game. I'm still picking the Patriots, but I think this is going to be closer than people think, and people might be a little shocked by that. So I'm picking Patriots over Colts, but that won't be closer than people think. Jaguars Chiefs. That's a tough game. You know, it's kind of like the offense of the Chiefs, because the Chiefs' defense hasn't been quite as good as their offense. The offense of the Chiefs against the defense of the Jaguars, what will win out? I really like Patrick Mahomes, and I really like the Chiefs at home. I think Mahomes can handle anything a defense throws at him. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this game. But boy, that's going to be a close game, and I think this might be the week that Mahomes has a little bit of trouble, because the Jags defense can be very, very imposing. So, but I like the Chiefs over the Jags in that game. Vikings Eagles, I have to pick that game. That's a potential NFC playoff matchup. Both teams we know have been probably better defensively than they've been offensively, at least in my opinion. Eagles looking for a big win at home. They've been able to defend at home. I think they'll defend here. Something about the Vikings just hasn't clicked for me, particularly on offense. And I think Kirk Cousins is a quarterback that makes a lot of mistakes late, and the Eagles will take advantage of that. So I like the Eagles here to win against a very, very, very good Vikings team who has just not played up to their capability, I think, particularly on offense. But Eagles over Vikings on Sunday. I'm going to pick the Monday night game, because I think that's a good game, even though it's in New Orleans. You'd think New Orleans would be the favorite, but they are the favorite. But you think that'd be an easy win for New Orleans, but they are 1-1 at home. You have the 2-1 Redskins at the 3-1 Saints. I think the Redskins have been better than people give them credit for. They're coming off a bye. I like what they've done on defense. Offensively, they've done just enough. Alex Smith's not a quarterback is very conservative and safe. He'll keep things in line. He'll be a calming presence. And the Redskins have a good enough defense. I think they can kind of keep the Saints contained a little bit. Close game. I like the Saints to still win it, but boy, I think that's going to end up being like the Colts-Patriots game, where people don't, or people are going to be shocked that the Redskins are that close in that game. So I like the Saints over the Redskins, and what should be a very close game. Now, 2 more games to pick. What is the 2 games I like to pick? Let's go Giants and Panthers, because I think that's going to, I think if the Giants play up to par on defense, that's going to be a low-scoring game. The Giants need that to be a low-scoring game. I picked the Giants so many times, both to go to the Super Bowl and to win several weeks, and they always let me down. But I'm going to pick them here, only because I haven't been in love with the way Carolina play. I think they've benefited from their schedule. I like the Giants on the road against the Panthers here. I think their defense could be play a much better game. I think their offense will be able to handle what Carolina throws at them. I think they're going to have a much better week, because I think they feel like they got embarrassed last week. I like the Giants over the Panthers on Sunday. I got to pick at least one upside. That would be an upside in many people's minds. So, one more pick. What do I want to pick? Let's go with the Falcons and the Steelers. Falcons have lost a lot of games late, a lot of close games. Steelers, Obviously, the whole Le'Veon Bell thing, which, now it looks like he's going to start. Apparently, he's going to play in Week 7. That's got people wondering what he's waiting for. Who knows if he's even going to play, if he's going to be traded once he plays. Who knows what's going to go on there. It's been a big distraction. They haven't looked the same all year. The Falcons have lost a lot of close games. This one should be a close, kind of gritty, kind of lower scoring type deal, I think, especially in Pittsburgh. I actually like Atlanta to win this game. I really do. I think that Atlanta's a team that doesn't make too many mistakes for the most part. They take more risks than they used to, which I think is a benefit to them because, you have to take risks to be able to win successfully or consistently, I should say. And I think at this point, the Falcons are the better team. I think they're more balanced, particularly on offense. So I like the Falcons over the Steelers on Sunday. So your picks for Week 5 of the NFL season: Patriots over Colts, Chiefs over Jaguars, Eagles over Vikings, Saints over Redskins, Giants over Panthers, and Falcons over Steelers. Those are your picks for Week 5 of the NFL season, which hopefully will be better than Week 4 and the previous few weeks before that as well. A lot of good games on paper. Should be a week that we see where some teams are at and see what teams could be hanging around and be in the mix here as we go forward. So should be a very big week in the NFL. I think probably a better week, I would hope, in the NFL. So we'll see how all that goes and talk about next week. Now, from the NFL, we go to college football. And I said that the NFL, I thought, had a negative week in terms of the way things went. And I explained why. Now I'm going to tell you why college football had a better week. Now, look, for us Syracuse fans, it wasn't a better week because our Syracuse team lost to Clemson, even though they had the game pretty much in the bag. I won't get into all that. But, I thought college football had a very good weekend here. And now that it's in October, going into October and the playoff rankings be coming out, so I think things will continue to build. And it's good that already it feels like it's carrying some momentum and the games are taking on a life of their own. It's very good. That's very good. So, and then once the playoff rankings come out, it's become a whole other level of interest. So, so let's take a look back. Pardon me. At Week 5 and how things went here, and if there's anything notable. And look, it's not that last week. It's not that last week had a heavy amount of notable. It's just that it was a good week. I thought of really good games. You only necessarily had to have a game between two ranked opponents to have a good game. I mean, there was a lot of good games on the board. I thought, this for one in the Syracuse Clemson game that I watched was a good game. Ohio State Penn State, that was a good game between number 4 and number 9. I said that I thought I favored Penn State. Well, Ohio State wins 27-26, and it was a very good football game. It's a big win for Ohio State. But you figure Penn State will still be in the mix going forward. LSU continues to look very impressive. Stanford, Notre Dame was okay early, but then Notre Dame took over in the second half. A very impressive performance by them. And Stanford got kind of shellacked in that game, and they got to kind of get their stuff together because they're the one team that I thought this weekend that was in the mix that I thought that you started to question a little bit. BYU Washington didn't end up being as good of a game as I thought it could, but potentially Washington gets a nice 35-7 win there. West Virginia, Texas Tech was a very good game. A lot of offense if you like that in college football. They win 42-34, they being West Virginia. They've looked impressive. I thought Michigan Northwestern played a very good game. 2017 win for Michigan. I thought that was actually a good game, good under the radar type game. Oregon California could have been a good game, ended up not being. Oregon just destroyed Cal. 42-24. Virginia Tech gets a big win over Duke. And what I thought was a better game than the score indicated. Florida Mississippi State played an ugly game. Florida wins that one 13-6. That was an ugly game. Probably the game you probably didn't want to pay attention to last week or even watch because that was just bad. Like some of the bad NFL games, I should say. So there was a lot of notable things. I thought there were some well-played games and some interesting under-the-radar games. And I thought as a whole it was a pretty exciting day of college football. Where the first few weeks you had a lot of mismatches and it didn't seem like a lot was going on. But it's good that there's momentum now and things are going to continue to build. And I think things, especially once the playoff rankings come out, things will really start to pick up. But they've already picked up already in a lot of ways. So that's good for college football going into October. And Week 6 brings you some interesting games. Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, West Virginia. I think Kansas will give West Virginia a pretty rough time. Maryland, Michigan. Northwestern's played very tough, so Michigan State can't take them lightly. LSU Florida is a good game. We'll see what Florida State can do against Miami, if they can challenge or not. I'm not too hopeful based on how they played. Indiana Ohio State could be interesting. What else? Let's see here. Notre Dame, Virginia Tech is an interesting game. So there's some interesting games on Saturday that I think could help college football carry some momentum forward here as it continues to progress towards the first unveiling of the playoff rankings. If you were to ask me about some of those games I mentioned, I think West Virginia will survive Kansas, but I think that'll be close. Michigan, same deal. I think they'll survive Maryland, but I think that'll be close. I like Oklahoma to beat Texas, so it should be a fun game. Northwestern's going to challenge Michigan State, but I think Michigan State will win. I could see Florida beating LSU. I could. I'm not going to pick it. I think LSU will barely skate by, but I could see Florida beating LSU. I think Miami will beat Florida State. In the end, I think we're going to give Ohio State an early run, but I think after that, Ohio State will pull away. I think Ohio State will be okay in that game. Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, I think kind of like we saw last week, Notre Dame will start off a little rough, and then they'll get better as the game goes on. They'll pull it out. So I don't think it'll be any upsets, but I think you'll see some of these teams that are in the mix kind of, put their best foot forward and make you feel a little bit more confident about them going forward. And I think you'll just get some nice momentum here continuing through October and into the playoff rankings unveiling. So, yeah, I think it'll be a good week of college football. I do. I think it'll be a good week of college football, and if it's anything like last weekend, then I think it's good. I think it's good for the game. I think it's good that it's not just waiting. Usually in the last few years, it's been around the time the playoff ranking, like, oh yeah, now we know where everybody's at, and now these games take on a different meaning. But now you're getting some good momentum going into that period, which is good. So that's good for the game. It's good for college football. So we look forward to see what happens on Saturday here after last weekend, which was a good weekend. Like I said, I think college football had a good weekend. I think the NFL had a rough one. So. All right, that's all the football. I know I kind of sound like I'm rushing. I'm not. I'm only rushing if we're on the air late, and I don't like to go too late into the night. So, that's why I'm kind of trying to move it along. We have some Ryder Cup stuff to get to, and it's Patrick Reed stuff. And look, last week going into the Ryder Cup, there was all this talk. Reed wanted to be paired with Tiger and all this other stuff, and then you have the embarrassment of the Ryder Cup, and it wasn't embarrassment. And look, the U.S. I didn't think the U.S. would win the Ryder Cup. They never win the Ryder Cup, okay? But I thought there'd be a better performance than that, okay? And you come out of this, and then you got all the complaining about, I think Reed was complaining about how the pairings were and how. If I was paired with Jordan Spieth, we bring out the best in each other. And then today you had an anonymous player from the U.S. Ryder Cup team saying that's BS because he wanted to play with Tiger, and now it's complaining about being with Spieth, and Spieth did this, and Spieth didn't need him. He was fine what he was doing. It's a shame everybody else was on board, and Jim Furyk was the captain. Everybody was willing to play for Jim Furyk. But one person wasn't cooperative. One person wasn't a team player. So it's gotten pretty ugly. It's gotten pretty ugly. Look, this is the thing about the Ryder Cup, okay? You all know I talk golf I watch the big tournaments, okay? I talk golf. When it's around the big tournaments, if something big happens, we talk about it. And I like golf. I like to watch golf. I would like to play golf, but I don't have the time. The thing is this: I've never been a big fan of the Ryder Cup. Number one, because I just don't. Not just because I don't see partly because I don't think the U.S. will ever win it, at least not in the near future. But because I just don't like the whole pairs thing. I'm not a big fan of it. I've never been a big fan of it. It doesn't appeal to me. I just can't get into it. And now to see all this nonsense, this kind of makes it turns me off to it even more. I almost would rather they all play individually and, put the scores together, and that's the way it goes. Compare, have each, have them play individually against, the other team, and have a representative for each team play a hole, and then move on to the next hole, and then have another two representatives play. I mean, that's why I would do it. This pairs thing, I think, is terrible. I just don't get it. But it is what it is. It's the way the tradition's been, and this year it's gotten ugly. There seemed like there was some dissension, some disagreement, particularly from one person, and apparently that was Patrick Reed. So there's some issues there. So it hasn't gotten pretty in the last couple of days. And my thought is kind of like, hey, you know what, dude? Um, you know, my opinion is this: you wanted to play with Tiger, you got Tiger. Now you want to play with Jordan Spieth. Like, which one do you want? Which one? What, make up your mind. Okay. Whoever that anonymous U.S. player was right. Then that it was right. But I would have. I wish they had. Again, we said we still remained anonymous. But still, I would have. You know, anonymously went out in there and put that out there in the universe because it doesn't. The U.S. already came off looking bad. Okay, but now all this dissension makes it look even worse. So that's why I would have said that it wasn't the right thing to do. They come out with that, even if it was anonymously. And for Patrick Reed to do what he's doing, it doesn't make it any better either. It just doesn't. Again, it was a rough weekend. A lot of them didn't play well. Okay, and I don't know if it would have made a difference whoever it was paired with, but the way it was all handled and the way, especially in the aftermath, has been terrible, and it's made us look even worse than we did playing the actual game of golf on the weekend. And that's a shame. That's a shame. Again, the Ryder Cup's not my thing. I pay attention to it just to follow it, but it's not my thing. But I know it's a big thing for a lot of people, and it's unfortunate that it went down the way they did, and the U.S. wasn't really too competitive, and then coming out of it, everything's kind of gotten ugly. It's a shame. It really is. All right. There's not much else I can say about it. I just wanted to kind of touch on it. So that's why, we brought it up. And so that's why I wanted to talk about the Ryder Cup, because it was important to talk about, because we've been having a lot of sports headlines in the last couple of days since the Ryder Cup ended. Been a lot of talk about Patrick Reed and all the other stuff that's going on with that, and the descent and the way things went, and how the way the team played and everything else. So I wanted to make sure that we touched on that here tonight. All right. So we did the football, we did the golf. Let's do some baseball here right now. And NL wildcard game for folks is tied in the bottom of the ninth with 1 out. Cubs at the plate. Cubs have a man on first, trying to win it here. This game, of course, on ESPN and also ESPN2. So if you're interested, check it out. Looks like it's going to be some drama here. Here with the Cubs at the plate at home, bottom of the ninth. Could be interesting. Should be fun. That's what you want. Again, drama. And that's what the MLB had. We talked about last week, some of the NL races stayed close enough, to keep, at least you had something to go through the last week with, and you end up with 2 tiebreakers yesterday for the first time in Major League Baseball history. Both games were interesting. They kept your interest, and at least you had something to play for. You had some compelling drama to go into the playoffs, but some races ended up being close and ended up tying. And, it's chaos for the teams that have to do the whole tiebreaker thing on Monday and then turn around and play a wildcard game on Tuesday. But for the fans, it's fun. And for the fans of the game, it's fun because you at least get baseball on a day when you didn't think you're going to get it. And it adds some compelling drama to the end of the season and into the playoffs. Carries some good momentum. So that's good. The last few years since, pretty much since the wild card started, the second wild card started, we haven't had that opportunity to have tiebreaker games and have things come down to the wire. So it was nice to have some races come down to the wire. Made for a fun end to the season, at least in the NL. And then you had the 2 tiebreaker games yesterday, which again were very good. And the Brewers won the Central, the Dodgers win the West. So the Brewers ended up being the 1 seed. Who would have thought that? The Dodgers advance in. So the Brewers will play the winner of this game tonight. The Cubs or the Rockies, which would be funny if they played the Cubs, because they played them yesterday. And the Braves and the Dodgers will play. And the Dodgers will host the Braves. So that's how, and who would have thought the Braves would have been the team that didn't have to play any of these games. But yeah, so it's been a fun kind of end of the season in the NL. But for baseball, it doesn't matter how you get it. It's the fact that you get it, and they got it, and that's good. So now this is what you got right now. You got NL wildcard games tonight, Cubs and Rockies. Tomorrow night, Yankees and A's at Yankee Stadium. And then after that, the winner of the Yankees and A's will play the Red Sox in the ALDS on Friday. The Indians and the Astros already set up to open their series in Houston on Friday. The NL, again, we already talked about Braves and the Dodgers. Braves will open up against the Dodgers in LA. And the winner of this game tonight will play the Brewers on Thursday. So, and Milwaukee will host that. So we know our matchups. We know who's in. Obviously, there's been a lot of other stuff too. More managers have been let go. John Gibbons, which was a surprise. The biggest surprise was Paul Molitor, which I never thought the Twins would get rid of him. They did. They're moving him to another position in the front office, which I guess that's a way of kind of be like, we want to get rid of you, but we also respect you and we love you. We don't want to totally get rid of you. It did come as a shock because the Minnesota Twins were just in the wild card game last year. But in this, what can you do for me lately kind of, world we live in, if they don't think that you're going in the right direction, they got a quick trigger. And if they think you can do better, they got a quick trigger. It's like they don't like waiting. They don't like giving you 3-4 years anymore. If it could be 1 year. So you really have to try to win right away out of the gate. It's kind of crazy, no matter how much you're beloved by the fan base and whatnot. So, but yeah, we already had some managers. Mike Scioscia, it was confirmed that he was leaving, even though we knew about that pretty much half the season now. So yeah, so there's going to be some managerial openings, and they might be even more after the playoffs, as we saw last year. Look what happened last year. The Red Sox and Yankees both made the playoffs, went go to their managers. Nationals the same way. You just never know. So, there could be more openings, but there are already some pretty good openings already available to prospective managers. So that'll be something interesting to follow in the offseason to see if any of these fired managers ran on their feet somewhere else, but also see who replaces them as well. So. But yeah, we know our matchups now, and as you look at these playoffs, and we'll recap the regular season, the season at home after the World Series. That's what we do. We're not going to do that right now. We never do that right now. It's usually when everything's over. Once a champion is crowned. As you look at these playoff matchups, and of course we don't know some of them yet because the wild cards have to be decided. And by the way, the NL wild card game going into the 10th inning, so extra innings. Again, Major League Baseball's got to be so happy that they got all this drama to start things off, especially I shouldn't say including or especially, but even though it's just in the NL, at least it's something. It doesn't matter where you get it from as long as you get it. But yeah, it's great. But yeah, we got the wild card to be settled. But we can still talk about it. We can still kind of predict, and we will predict. But first, let's talk about the matchups that are already settled. On the NL side of things, we have the Dodgers hosting the Braves on Thursday. How do I look at this? Well, neither team's going to knock you over in the pitching department. The Dodgers have Kershaw, but he hasn't always been the best postseason pitcher. I think they're pretty much equal in terms of pitching. And I think they're equal in terms of the offense. So I think it's a pretty even matchup. It's almost like a pick-em. I guess I veer more towards the Dodgers because I think they have more. I guess they have the experience. And even Manny Machado, who got traded to the Dodgers in the midseason, Manny's even been in the postseason. So I think they have more experience, and that comes into play, especially in a short series. So I do like the Dodgers to win it in 5, and I do think it will go 5. I think they're a pretty balanced team. So I like the Dodgers to win that in 5. On the AL side of things, the AL matchup we know about is the Astros hosting the Indians. I like the Astros. I think the Indians have the better bullpen. But starting pitching-wise, the Astros have a lot more depth. They come in playing a lot better baseball in the last 6 weeks than they did prior to that because they were struggling for a real long time. They're healthier now. They have their bats back. Look, the one thing about the Indians is they've proven that good pitching can beat their good hitting, that their hitting can be shut down with that good pitching, and the Astros have that good pitching. And they have a guy in Verlander that can dominate, especially in a short series when you have to see him twice. And without home field, I just like the Astros. I like the Astros to come out of the ALDS. I think they'll win in 4. Like the other two matches are dependent on the wild card game. The Red Sox, obviously the 1 seed in America, they will host the winner of the wild card. The Brewers are the 1 seed in the NL. Shockingly, they will host the winner of the NL wild card. My belief is that I think the Cubs will win tonight. I think they'll figure out a way, especially at home, to win tonight. So I'm picking the Cubs to advance the Brewers, and both face the Brewers. And obviously, both these teams know each other very well. They've seen each other. A lot, obviously. So there's not going to be any hiding. There's not going to be any, what you see is what you get. I think that'll be a fairly even matchup. Neither team bowls you over with their starting pitching. But the Brewers have the better bullpen, and I think that's very, very critical, especially as you go further into a series. I like the Brewers bullpen. I like their offense better. I think they have more bats. I think the Cubs lineup, other than Bryant and Rizzo, is a struggle, and Baez is a struggle. I like the Brewers. I think the Brewers get it done in 5. That's your home field. I like the Brewers to advance to the NLCS to face the Dodgers. And the AL side of things, I think the Yankee A game is a fascinating game because you got the A's going with an opener and the Yankees going for a pitcher, Luis Severino. They could have went with Severino, Tanaka, or Happ, or even did what Oakland's doing with the whole opener thing. They're going with Severino because A, he does have the best stuff, but B, I think there is a tint of, I think they're looking ahead a little bit because they want half for the Red Sox, but you can't do that in that, in this situation because you have to really win the game to get to that point. So you don't want to go too far ahead of yourself, but at the same time, you kind of look at the big picture too. I guess that's just natural, but I don't think that was as big, one of the huge factors. I think the biggest factors is that he's got the best stuff, and you're looking at somebody in the Yankees case, especially in a 1-game playoff. You look at this. You're looking at trying to put somebody out there that has the best chance to get through 3 innings unscathed. Because you're looking at, you could go once you get to the 4th inning, you feel comfortable going to your bullpen. Now that doesn't mean you pull Severino out in the 4th inning, okay? But you want that option. And last year, obviously Severino laid an egg in the wild card and then played better afterwards. But so I mean, you obviously they'll be prepared for it. They got pitchers on the roster and all that. They'll be okay. But yeah, I mean, I see what they're trying to do. Okay, he's got the best stuff. Yeah, we put him out there. Maybe he can come, strike out 3 or 4 batters the first 9 he faces. He can shut down the first 3 innings of that lineup, and then we take it batter by batter and see what we can get from him. Whereas Tanaka can sometimes have trouble early in a game, and Happ, can sometimes get hit too. I mean, all these guys can get hit. But Severino has the best stuff, and they think he's got the best chance to shut down a lineup early. And that's the reason they probably picked him, and I can understand that. Meanwhile, Oakland goes in with an opener, Liam Hendricks, a guy that they designated for assignment earlier this year. Now, again, we've seen openers work very, very well. Tampa did it for all season, and look where they ended up. They almost made the playoffs. Oakland's done it a few times. They've had some success as well. And, look, the Yankees are going to have to be prepared for anybody. You have to prepare. One of the reasons why openers are so successful is because it's hard for teams to prepare for. You don't know who you're going to send out, who they're going to start with. You don't know any of these things, right? So what you got to do is you got to prepare for everybody. You have to know each pitcher that could potentially go out there. Now, of course, in this situation, you have to announce somebody, so at least you have some notes. You go, okay, let's go back, look at film. We faced, oh, yeah, let's see, remember what he has. Okay. So it's a little bit easier in the playoffs than it is in the regular season where they can announce it late, like right before the game. So who has the upper hand here as far as the pitching matchup? I guess I'll give the edge to Severino only because here's the thing. He does have the best stuff, but here's the other thing. If you're Oakland, you send Hendricks out. What happens if he struggles early? Then you go to another bullpen pitcher. What if that bullpen pitcher struggles early? Then all of a sudden you're rolling through your bullpen. You're going through pitchers. And, by the time things settle in, it might be too late. Now, I'm going to say Severino can get blown out. Like we saw that last year. He didn't even make it through an inning. He went like 1 batter, I think, right? I'm sorry, not 1 batter. He recorded only 1 out. So, anything can happen, on paper, I've seen people all day going, well, this is stupid. The Yankees are stupid for picking Luis Severino. What are you thinking? Luis Severino is their ace. What do you mean what are they thinking? Anybody, either Severino, Tanaka, or Happ, you had pros and cons to all 3 of them. So it didn't really matter who you put out there. Especially you're going to look at it as a bullpen game, even if you don't have the bullpen starting tonight. So, to me, it's an interesting matchup. I think the Yankees get the edge because I think Severino has the potential to dominate for a few innings. Oakland, I think that it could end up being a very good advance for him if things could start off right with Hendricks, and then everything falls into place. If it doesn't, then it's a risk. It really is, and that puts you at an immediate disadvantage in that regard. However, based on the way that Oakland's been hitting versus the Yankees, who I think over the last 10 days have been better now that they're healthy, I still have to go to tip the cap to Oakland and think that Oakland has the advantage on offense because of the fact they've been more consistent this year, and they're a very big power threat. So and with them facing Severino, a righty to start, that does scare you because they are better against righties, which is odd. Pardon me, for a right-handed dominated team, right-handed dominated offense. So I think I probably give maybe a little bit more of the edge to Oakland because more pressure is going to be on the Yankees. The Oakland's this great underdog story nobody expects anything from. I think the Yankees will win, but I think Oakland has overall the advantage when you put everything together, even on the road. But I am picking the Yankees win. Obviously, the Yankees win. They'll play the Red Sox. I think they'll beat the Red Sox in 5. Because I don't think Chris Sale's right, and it's become obvious that he isn't right. But no, with Chris Sale not right, and David Price never won a postseason game. Maybe he'll turn it around, but who knows? And then not having any other big name players after that, I don't think the Red Sox can make it through this. I don't think they're going to get to a World Series. I really don't, no matter who they play. But especially if it's the Yankees, I don't think they will. So I'm picking the Yankees to win the wild card game tomorrow night. I'm picking the Cubs to win tonight's wild card game. I'm picking the Yankees, if they get to the ALCS, to beat the Red Sox and face the Astros for a rematch in the ALCS. I think the Dodgers and the Brewers will meet in the NLCS. And I like the Brewers. I like the Brewers, even though they don't have much of a pitch rotation, to beat the Dodgers and go to the World Series. And I like the Yankees to get to the World Series this year. Maybe I'm jinxing my team, but I like the Yankees to get to the World Series. I think we're gonna have a Yankee Brewer World Series, which would be interesting, wouldn't it? See the Brewers there and the Yankees there with their young core. That'd be interesting. And I think the Yankees win the World Series. And I'm not just saying it because I'm a homer. I think that. I think they got healthy at the right time. I like a lot of what I saw in the last week. I think if they really, for them, if they get out of the wild card game, that's the big challenge, because I think last year I think they took a lot from that wild card game, especially having to come from behind to win. I think they took a lot of momentum out of that game. I think that helped them in that series against Cleveland. And I think they can help them again this year, especially if they feel like their backs are against the wall, which they play their best when it is. And especially if they feel like everybody's down on them, I think they can turn it on. I think they'll want to surprise people. So, so that's how I see the playoffs. And that's kind of like our playoff, that is our playoff preview and our look ahead and my picks for these playoffs. I think it's going to be an exciting playoffs. Already off to a good start with the tiebreaker games yesterday and this tonight's wild card game tonight. Again, the bottom of the 10th, tied at 1 on ESPN. Check that game out because that's going to be a fun ending probably. Baseball playoffs off to a very good start. Very good start. And MLB should be happy. They really should. It's been a great start. And I think it's going to be a great postseason. I think the matchup should be great. You got a nice group of teams. You got the big markets, the Bostons, the New Yorks, the LAs. You got some very good baseball markets with Milwaukee. What else was I going to say? Milwaukee and Houston and obviously Cleveland. So you got a nice mixture of teams in there, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be, and we'll talk about it along the way and make adjustments in terms of our predictions along the way. I think it's gonna be a great October for baseball, and it's already off to a really good start. And I don't know if you saw this. I wanted to talk about this, but briefly, baseball is rolling out these commercials. That are slamming the unwritten rules. And what are the unwritten rules? The traditionalist things that people talk about, like, you shouldn't watch, after you hit a home run, you shouldn't watch the ball, stand there and watch the ball, just run the bases. Or, demonstrative behavior on the mound or in the batter's box. God, I'm trying to think of what the other ones are. What you wear on the field during warm-up, those kind of things. They're running these ads, MLB, that are basically designed, kind of a reflection of what Bryce Harper said a couple years back, or a year or so back, whatever, bringing the fun back to baseball. It focuses on personality, and it focuses on being fun and open and vibrant, and the game being exciting, and and allowing players to have their personality shine through. And it even shows, even has like the clips of them. I think it's like the Atlanta Braves. Broadcasters complaining about what who was it? The Cubs? Wasn't the Cubs? Who was it? I forgot who was on the field. Oh, the Dodgers complaining about what they were wearing and everything. It has the clips from that, like audio clips or whatever from that. So I think this is baseball's way of trying to appeal to the younger audience, because that's one of the things you've heard about in the last couple of years, why they're changing, trying to pick up pace of play, trying to move things along. Really just worried about the games kind of being quicker, and because they're trying to appeal to a younger demographic, and that's why they're all in about the home runs, thinking people like home runs. Well, now it's about, well, let's let them show personality. Let's let them have fun. Let's let them, have their celebrations and their behaviors. And, now they're like, okay, let's let them do this, because it makes people, it amps up the crowd. You see it in the NBA, you see it in the NFL. It makes people, it's entertaining for people and fun for people that watch. So that's what they're trying to do, MLB, especially during this time of year when more eyes are on them than probably any other time of the year, because people care now because the World Series is coming. They're using this ad campaign to kind of get people to say, hey, you know what? Maybe I should give baseball a chance. Looks like they're trying to change things up a little bit and be more interesting and more fun and more exuberant. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to appeal to younger audiences and people that might have turned their back on the game because it's boring and there's not enough personality in it, and there's not enough entertainment value in it, and not enough fun in it. So I just thought that was interesting that they're showing those ads now, and they're trying to kind of change their image a little bit. Very interesting. Still tied at 1, bottom of the 10th inning in Chicago. Again, that game on ESPN. That's the NL wildcard game. Winner advances to the NLDS to face the Brewers on Thursday in Milwaukee. So that'll probably be the last update I give on this game, unless, obviously, as I end the show, unless the Cubs win it. Well, they won't. It's going to the 11th now. They just got retired in the bottom of the 10th. So we go to the 11th. It is a 1-1 game in the NL wildcard game. That game on ESPN. So if you're interested, check that game out. A lot of fun that one is, and Wrigley Field, great environment for the playoffs. Whether you're there or whether you watch it on TV, it's great to watch it from there. So, all right. That's it. We got through everything we had to get through. I know I rushed, but again, it's getting away. I don't like to try to push things. So my apologies for that, but we did get everything in, so that's all that matters. So, all right, with that being said, that is it for tonight. As I said, as always, the show might be over. It's not mean you have to stop interacting, contributing to our show. Continue to have your voice heard. Send us your questions and comments about the show, things we said on the show, reactions, comments, opinions, things we talked about on the show, things we said, topic ideas, and breaking news on sports, entertainment, wrestling you want us to cover. Any of these things you can do by email, Facebook, and Twitter. You can email us at itspotlight401@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight401. Remember to use the hashtag itspotlight401 for anything you tweet regarding our show. And again, on Facebook, for those that do not know, search for us using our full show title in the Spotlight 401 on Facebook, and make sure that you like our fan page once you find it so you can interact with us and have fun with us and all that good stuff. Again, social media, you want to follow us on social media so you can get the latest access to announcements about the show, about any information about postponements, delays, any other information regarding the show. We post random stuff on our social media as well, so to have access to all that and more. Make sure that you follow us on social media. Follow us on Twitter at itspotlight401. Remember to use the hashtag itspotlight401 for anything you tweet regarding the show. And again, on Facebook, to search in the Spotlight 401 on Facebook, and then make sure that you like our fan page so you can interact with us and have access to all the things that we post on our Facebook page. If you'd like to queue up with episodes or look back at classic episodes, you have two ways to do that. You can either stream us anytime on Google Plus and YouTube. Just search in the Spotlight 401 on those sites. When you do, you'll be taken to our show pages on both sites where you have access to every episode we ever produced for Google Plus and YouTube. That's every episode from mid-October 2015 all the way up to tonight's current episode. All those episodes available for you to stream anytime you want. We're closing in on our 3-year anniversary since we started on Google Plus and YouTube. Soon that will be over with, but hey, we've been there doing it for 3 years. Hard to believe, but But if you're interested and you want to stream us anytime on Google Plus YouTube, just search for In the Spotlight 411, and you'll be able to do all that and more once you get to our show pages. If streaming's not your thing, maybe you prefer to listen to us on the go, or listen to us in general rather than see us on screen. Maybe you're interested in older episodes of the show. If any of that applies to you, check us out on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes. Search for In the Spotlight 411. And when you do, you'll be taken to our show pages on both sites. We have access to every episode we've ever produced in nearly 8 years been doing the show. That's every episode from our original Blog Talk radio run from October 2010 to January 2011. Every episode from our Talk Show run from January 2011 all the way up to mid-October of 2015. And every episode from our Google Plus and YouTube run from mid-October 2015 all up to tonight's current episode. All those episodes transfer into audio format for your convenience. I'm sorry. I'm stumbling over myself tonight. Every episode we've ever done transfer into audio format for your convenience, for you to listen to anytime you want. All episodes or from the most recent date, that being tonight, all the way to the oldest, way back in October 2010. So almost up to our 8-year anniversary. It's hard to believe. So if you're interested in any of those episodes, maybe you're a long-time family and check an episode from a few years ago again, or a new family and check an episode like that for the first time, or just keep up for current episodes, maybe miss an episode, want to check out an episode again, miss a part of an episode. If you want to do any of that and more, check us out on our main host site, Podbean and iTunes, to search for In the Spotlight 411. So Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, and Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, your ways to keep up with the show and look back at classic episodes. To search for In the Spotlight 411. Again, to search for In the Spotlight 411. I want to give another shout out to my co-host Mike. Again, not with us tonight, but I think he might be coming back soon. Maybe sometime this month. We'll see. Hopefully, keep you all updated on that. But hope everything's continuing to go well for him. Shout out to him, as I've been doing since he's been absent, because I'm so used to having him here. And of course, I want to thank myself for another great show. Pat myself back, and thank all of you for your continued support and contributions to the show. Thank you so much for watching. To those that will be watching or listening to this later in archive, thank you to you as well. I apologize for kind of rushing towards the end there and also stumbling over my words a little bit. I was just, getting a little hoarse and raspy, and I just want to get everything in. Plus, again, it's getting late, and I'm trying to kind of get things done in timely fashion so I don't have to keep anybody up too late. I know people have to work tomorrow and stuff. That's why I hate to start the show late. And I didn't mention, people did ask me during the show, because I usually explain why I was late at the beginning of the show. I didn't do that this time. It just slipped my mind because there's so much else to go do. Why was I late? Well, we had some weather here tonight with some rain and some storms. That's kind of made things, the storm's been over for a while, the rain's been over for a while, but it's kind of made things wonky with connections and stuff tonight. And I know people are going to say, oh, you always have an excuse. Yeah, I know, I do. But tonight things were real wonky with the internet and everything. So, and plus I ran late with some family stuff, so bear with me. That won't happen come a couple weeks. I'm going to make sure that stuff like that doesn't happen. Right now, not that I don't care, not that it's not a caring thing. I do care. But, right now, things have been kind of hectic, and but I think things will change in a couple of weeks. So you won't have to worry about me saying, "Hey, I'm on the air late," especially since we're starting already at 10 o'clock. It's one of the reasons why I pushed it to 10 o'clock, was to try to avoid starting late. So I don't anticipate that continuing to be a problem. And I know it's been a problem for the last couple of weeks, but I don't think it will be going forward. So I think things will get better as we go through October. So if you're worried about me always being late and things ending later, please don't. Things will improve. Trust me. We're kind of exiting out of a hectic period now, so things should improve. No worries. But thank you for your patience and understanding with the late start and with me stuttering all over myself and rushing here tonight. I appreciate it. Again, I just want to get things off, get the show off in a timely fashion and not go too late. And I just want my voice to go out here, and it's starting to give out a little bit. So. But thank you for bearing with me and joining us tonight. That is it for tonight. Our next show will be on Thursday, this coming Thursday at 10 o'clock from Eastern Time. Broadcasting and streaming live here on YouTube Live. We'll do a real wrestling. We'll preview WWE Super Showdown event that'll be taking place this coming Sunday on the WWE Network. Not this coming Sunday. Is it Sunday or is it Friday? I think it's Friday. Well, either way, we'll talk about it. We'll preview it. We'll do any other wrestling stuff we have to discuss. And we'll also do the entertainment side of things with the box office beat, TV highlights, which will have a fall TV preview kind of tilt to it like I did last week. All that will be on Thursday's show. So until then, I hope you have a good rest of your night, a great Wednesday, and a great Thursday. See you back here for our next show this coming Thursday night, October the 4th, broadcasting and streaming live here on YouTube Live at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, good night, everybody.